Hi, welcome to Learning Spark. My name's Jenny. Today, I want to talk to you about setting up a Montessori-inspired classroom. Now, before we jump into all of the Montessori details, I would encourage you to take a look at my How to Set Up a Homeschool Space video, because that video covers the topics of the importance of natural lighting, the psychology of color, and how to choose furniture. And I feel like those topics will be very helpful to you as we move forward in setting up your classroom in a more Montessori way. So feel free to take a look at that. It's on my channel page. So you want to set up a Montessori classroom or a Montessori homeschool space. So before we jump right in, you need to know the 5 purposes of the Montessori environment. The first purpose of the Montessori classroom is to promote concentration. Dr. Maria Montessori, the founder of the Montessori method, said that the child who concentrates is immensely happy. So it's very, very important that the elements in your Montessori classroom promote concentration. Children acquire knowledge through experience in the environment. So the second purpose of the Montessori classroom is to encourage learning. There is a great quote by the American Montessori Society that really wraps up the rest of all of these 5 purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. The quote says, "The classroom is prepared by the teacher to encourage independence, freedom with limits, and a sense of order. The child, through individual choice, makes use of what the environment offers to develop himself, interacting with the teacher when support and/or guidance is needed." And this is from the American Montessori Society About the Classrooms page. Everything that you set up in the Montessori classroom needs to satisfy those 5 purposes of the Montessori classroom. If all of your materials satisfy those needs, your classroom is well on the way to being set up Montessori style. Okay, so let's jump into how to set up that Montessori classroom. So the first thing you're going to need is pretty obvious. You're going to need some furniture. Now, the furniture that you choose needs to have certain elements. So the furniture that you choose needs to be light, natural colored wood, or it could also be white. That is a substitute for natural colored wood, but natural colored wood is the preferred color of furniture. The more natural colored wood you can have in your classroom, the more Montessori it is going to feel. So you can have natural colored wood, you can use white, or you can use metal as well for your furniture pieces. Another element of furniture that really ties into Montessori is having a woven rug. Now you're gonna want something with some texture to it because it feels more natural. Another thing that lots of people like to use is wicker baskets. And those are helpful for organizing different materials and for keeping things looking tidy. So wicker baskets are great because they're made of wood, and so that fits into the Montessori method very easily and is very, very appropriate for a Montessori classroom. The next thing that you need in your Montessori classroom is materials. Materials and works are the same thing. You'll hear it called both things in the Montessori world. So just so you know, works and materials are the same. So for your materials, you need to make sure that they are made of natural elements. They should be made of wood, they should be made of wool, they should be made of felt, they could be made of stone, they could be made of metal. Any of those elements are very appropriate for Montessori materials. And I want to mention that even if a material is not strictly labeled as Montessori, you can still use it in a Montessori classroom. Any sort of toy that is promoting hands-on play through learning could be considered Montessori. However, if you want to be very, very authentic, it would be best to make sure that all of your materials are made of natural occurring elements. I want to make a little side note here that technology has a place in Montessori. However, technology is not a primary focus of the Montessori classroom. Therefore, the technology that you are using should not be on display 24/7 in your Montessori environment, because that could be a distraction that takes away from the concentration of your child. So it's really important to make sure that your technology is put in a place that will not be distracting to your child. Now that you've chosen your materials, where are you going to put them? In the Montessori environment, it is extremely important that materials are easily accessed by the child. So your shelves or cube organizers or whatever you are using needs to be at a kid-friendly level. If it is a high shelf that they would need a stool to reach something, that's not an appropriate Montessori shelf. So it is very important to keep in mind that materials are displayed on open shelves. They are not stored inside of baskets and hidden from the child. They should be easily displayed so that the child can see the materials, choose a material, begin working with it, and then return it to where the child retrieved it from. That is a huge part of Montessori because Montessori is all about promoting independence. Now, promoting that independence is not possible if materials are not easy access for the child. So it's very, very, very important with your materials that you display them on the shelves. If you have a long shelf and you kind of need to organize your materials a little better, you could use a tray and place some materials that go together on a tray and then put the tray on the shelf. But just remember, you don't want to weigh down that tray because the child is going to need to retrieve that tray from the shelves, take it to their workspace, and then return it. So it's really important as you're organizing all of your materials, all of your works, choosing out your furniture, make sure that your child is going to be able to reach and return all of those things. As you may have noticed, the core principles of Montessori are to remain as natural as possible in your environment. So, what better way to bring nature into your classroom than with plants? Montessori classroom design is all about plants. There are floor plants, there are desk plants, there are window plants, there are plants pretty much everywhere, even hanging from the ceiling in some environments. Plants are a wonderful way to bring the outside environment into your Montessori classroom. They bring a sense of life, and not only that, but they also give your child the responsibility of caring for that plant and making sure it has what it needs. And that responsibility is a huge part of the independence that the Montessori classroom promotes. Montessori classrooms need real dishes and glasses for snack times and for meal times. Now, your child should be eating off of a glass plate. They should be pouring water with a glass pitcher into a glass cup and using proper silverware for all of their snacks and their meals. This is a very important element of Montessori because children are learning to take care of their things. So after they use all of those things, they are going to be responsible for washing, drying, and putting away all of those items. So it's important that in the Montessori environment, you have all of those things available to them. Your classroom needs kid-friendly cleanup tools. Now, the number one thing that you are going to need is a sink. Now, this sink should be easily accessed by the child, preferably without a stool. If your child cannot reach the sink, it would be better to bring them a bucket or a tub with water because they are going to be responsible for some cleaning in the Montessori classroom, and they need to have the tools to be able to do their responsibilities. So a sink or a tub full of water. They are also going to need a broom and dustpan. They're going to need a vacuum. They're going to need soap and water and possibly even some sanitizing wipes. So you need to make sure that your Montessori classroom has all of those things easily accessible to the child. They need to be placed somewhere where the child can retrieve them when there's a spill or when there is a mess that needs to be cleaned. It needs to be in a place where the child can access it at any time without limits. Many Montessori classrooms include an animal. Now, this is a live animal who is going to live in that classroom. Common animals include lizards, snakes, guinea pigs, turtles, several other animals. Fish are pretty common. Now this is to teach the child to be responsible for someone else. It is a great skill and a wonderful lesson for them to learn. Understanding the 5 purposes of the Montessori classroom and the Montessori elements that really make a classroom Montessori should really help you as you're setting up your Montessori-inspired classroom. If you need some more clarity, or if you have comments or questions, please put those in the comments down below, or feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to help you with whatever problem you are having. If you have a different topic you'd like to hear about, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching my episode today. I hope it was helpful and sparked your learning. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Learning Spark. Don't forget to turn on the notifications to get all the latest updates on my videos. Once again, thank you for being here today, and see you soon.